If you've been using AI or if you've been using OpusClip, we have some really exciting things to show you today to where you can combine OpusClip with the AI tools that you're already using. To get us kicked off and started today, I'm going to pass it off to Parker from OpusClip. Parker?
Thanks, Nick. Hey, everybody. Hey to everybody who joined. I'm trying to get a quick read on how many people we have watching. We are super excited
right now.
All right. That's a good turnout. That's a good turnout for us. Yeah, we are at OpusClip are super excited to launch a variety of things today that basically make OpusClip overall just more AI agent friendly. So the main thing we'll be focusing on today, like Nick said, is the MCP. That's the easiest thing to set up, comes with a lot of power, a lot of things you can build with it. But, there's an echo. Is it on my end?
Yeah, I think we got an echo.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call outs in the, is that any better?
Oh, that's sounding better to me. Oh.
Okay, awesome.
Oh no, I can still hear it. How about you guys? Can you still hear it?
How about now?
Testing 1, 2. How do we sound? Guys?
Let's see what the chat says.
Better? Okay. We have one better.
Okay.
All right, awesome. And I'll speak up too, because I saw someone said that the audio is a little low as well. So yeah, just to recap, we actually launched a handful of things today. If you go to our website, you'll see some of it that make OpusClip way more friendly for AI agents. We launched our MCP. That's what we're going to be going over today. We also launched a set of agent skills that you can download from GitHub. You can also use our API just directly if you want to go into OpusClip and grab an API key and build some more bespoke stuff. We have a lot of these things that just dropped today, but again, MCP is the main focus. And just to speak to, I think, a little bit more behind the reason why we're launching all of these things, I do want to spend a moment on that. So OpusClip, we've pioneered a lot of AI features like AI clipping. We created the category. We're considered the #1 AI clipping product. Of course, we have other AI editing features like adding captions, AI reframing, audio enhancing, AI B-roll. Like, we invented a lot of these other AI editing features as well. But as you all know, and many of you have called out before, the only way to interact with those in the past have been through our web UI, which is appropriate for a lot of use cases if you need a lot of precision. Scale isn't as important in that instance. But a lot of people have called out that they want easier ways to accomplish these tasks at higher scale, in batches, and even going further than that, maybe connecting some of those tasks with other systems you pay for, other softwares you use, and into your AI assistant. So we heard the feedback. We're launching all of this aggressively. We're going to be investing a lot of resources, attention on the OpusClip side to build these things out for you all. And yeah, I'm personally super excited about the possibilities that are being created here. And I'm here today to help answer questions, chime in here and there, just from the OpusClip side of things. But Nick and Greg have also been playing with the MCP a lot, and especially Nick. Like, Nick is, I think he was one of the main people initially who was telling us we need to get on this and launch an MCP. So they're going to be sharing a lot of the main meat of the webinar today. And yeah, super excited. Nick, I don't know if you want to take over, or should we? How should we proceed?
Yeah. So as we get into this, the very first thing that I do want to bring to your attention as we are, getting started, is we're going to be talking a lot about how to set everything up and different ways that you can use this, and just giving you some tips around using it and that sort of thing. But I do want to also let you know, and I'll just drop this into the chat right now as well, so you have it available to you. But there on this site right here, it is opus.pro/MCP/inspiration. What this is a starting point. This is inspiration for things that you can have the MCP do. So if you're, curious about what's possible, if you are trying to figure out starting points, things like that, then this is a great resource for you to check out. And in addition to that, it also gives you some quick, tips on getting it installed quickly and, those sorts of things as well. But what you want to be looking at is you want to be looking at all of these options up here for, the inspiration of some of what it is that you can do in addition to what it is that we are going to be sharing with you today. So as we get into this, one of the first questions that we have is, what is an MCP? And we're going to get to that right here in just a second. Greg's going to be explaining all of that to you. But before we do want to show you just a quick promo video of that is from OpusClip that, builds a little bit of hype around, what it is that we're getting ready to take you through today.
Come through if you're gonna roll, feel you know. Come through if you're gonna roll, feel you know. Come through if you're gonna roll, feel you know.
Now, another thing that I do want to bring to your attention as well is for, those of you that are wanting to experiment with this, but maybe you are not wanting to burn up your OpusClip credits for it and that sort of thing. There is also the option for attendees today, people that are hanging out here during the live stream. OpusClip is also giving people a free trial and 90 minutes of free credits. So for that as well, we're going to be dropping that into the stream here in just a little bit. So make sure that you are hanging out for that. And then we'll come back around to that here in just a few minutes. But Greg, you want to take us into an MCP? What is an MCP? How is it different from an API? Let us know what you know.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat. What is an MCP? Also seeing some questions. What is an API? And Parker was throwing API and MCP out. So I thought, yeah, I'll run through both of those just so that we can all get this basic understanding of where we're at. So in a nutshell, both an MCP and an API, they're ways of using tools remotely. So with OpusClip in particular, it's a way of using OpusClip without having to actually be on the OpusClip website yourself, be sat there sitting, pressing buttons. You can use both APIs and MCPs to speak to OpusClip automatically, remotely, without you, and for it to do things on its own, so at scale. So in theory, using both these technologies, you could create a huge volume of content with OpusClip automatically. Now, the difference between APIs and MCPs. The most simple way to think about this is an API is for software to talk to software. And an MCP is if you want API to talk to, sorry, an MCP, let's start again, is if you want AI to talk to software. So API, software talking to software, MCP, AI talking to software. So in a nutshell, if you're technical, if you're an app developer, you would use an API to allow your app to speak to OpusClip remotely and do things using OpusClip. But if you're just an average Joe like us and you're using an AI client like Claude or ChatGPT or any other AI of choice, you'll use an MCP instead to let your AI use OpusClip remotely automatically. How was that?
That was great. Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Cool. Yeah, so in terms of, what it stands for, things like that, the MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. Sounds fancy. I don't know what those words mean. But one thing that I can tell you is that when it comes to this, the way that we typically use OpusClip right now is we have to log into the website and we have to go page to page. We have to hop over to YouTube, grab the clip, log into our OpusClip account and go through that process there. And, with every time that you have to do that, it costs time. So with this, what you are able to do is you're able to use whatever chat interface that you currently use. You're able to just do everything within that chat interface so that you don't technically even have to log into the website anymore unless it's to get credits or, something else that's not related to actually making content. So when you are, looking at it through what can an MCP do for me, the thing is, it makes you work more efficiently, and it makes it to where you can do everything just right within your chat interface that you're already working within. And one of the questions that came in as well was, does this work with the chat GPT that's already, available and out there? Do you have to do something special? Yeah, it works with the tools that you're already using. So with this, you do need the desktop software. Is that correct, Parker? That you need the desktop software for this. So you can't do it within the web-based chat interface. Is that correct?
At least in the case of ChatGPT, I believe you actually can. Again, I can't speak for Claude, but ChatGPT, I believe through the browser, you can go in and follow basically the same instructions to add the MCP URL as a custom connector, or they call it plugin. And then you can do the same there. Of course, like I'm sure you recommend the same, Nick. I always recommend people use the desktop app just because it's, a little more robust and reliable. But yeah, to answer your question, it's actually a lot more flexible, I think, than people realize. And Nick, if it's okay, I also want to make like one really quick call out just from personal experience. I see a lot of the comments, and Greg did a great job explaining the difference between MCP and API, but I see a lot of the comments here are about, fewer acronyms, like, okay, but what does that actually mean? I just implore everyone who's listening to this live and in the recorded version, just think past, it sounds really complicated. There's all these acronyms flying around. It's just try to get past that and just install it. And the user experience of the MCP itself when you're in ChatGPT or Claude could not be more flexible and simple. It's like a godsend. So just try to get past that hurdle of installing it, and you'll be blown away by like how simple it feels as a user.
Yeah, we're going to be showing you how to do all that as well. We're going to be showing you step by step how to set it up. So you're going to be taken directly through that process. So by the time this stream is over, you're going to know exactly what to do and how to use this.
I started using MCPs a few months ago, and yeah, that acronym was really intimidating to me. I thought that sounds really technical, and it actually put me off starting to use them for longer than it should, because it was just so intimidating. But once I started using my first MCP, I connected it into Claude, and I saw how easy it is to start using them. Like it was mind blowing. I've been on a MCP binge over the last few months with Claude, just plugging as many different tools and software into Claude to like automate as much content creation as I can. And yeah, all I can say as someone who was relatively new to this myself a few months ago is, once you do it the first time, it's so easy to do, and it just opens up like so much possibilities for you.
So Greg, with that out of the way, since we do, since we're, I'm sure people would love to see this actually in action. So do you want to get started with the Claude install? And then as soon as you're done with that, I'll show them how to do ChatGPT. And then from there, we'll go into, just different ways that we can use it and showing people the actual process. That sound good?
Yeah, let's do this. How are we going to do it? Can I share my screen? Can we do it that way? Cool. Okay. Can you do that for me, or do I have to do that on my side?
Yeah, if you click on the share screen option, down at the bottom, and then you just choose the screen. Yep. And then once it pops up, then I can add it.
Okay, just give me one moment, guys. I don't live stream very often.
Yeah, you guys are going to be blown away at what this is capable of in terms of workflow. Yeah, like this completely changes everything. So you're really going to enjoy this. But when it comes to setup, when it comes to, using MCP and, things like that, it sound in AI, it all sounds like, it might be a little bit intimidating, but this is so easy that, yeah, it's crazy. But here we go.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. So I'm going to run you through how to set up the OpusClip MCP inside Claude. And then after, Nick will run us through how to set it up inside ChatGPT. But yeah, super easy. If you head to the OpusClip MCP section of the OpusClip website, which there'll be a link shared somewhere around here, you'll see this page. And it basically just runs you through the 3-step process of getting this set up inside Claude. Like, it's so simple. If you're techie, you might want to choose Claude Code out of these two options here between normal Claude and Claude Code, but I'm not techie. I'm assuming most people here aren't techie either. So I'm going to keep it simple and just show you how to get this set up in just the standard basic version of Claude. So yeah, 3 steps. It's telling me to go to Claude and open my custom connector screen, which I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then it's as simple as pasting this code into Claude and then signing in when a pop-up box pops up asking me to sign into OpusClip. So 3 steps, enough talk. Let me actually show you this in action. So
Party time.
Yeah, here we go. This is the step-by-step. We're inside Claude. I've jumped through to the settings area of my Claude. I'm assuming most of you can figure out how to get here. I didn't want to share some information that pops up on the earlier screen. So you just need to figure out how to get to the settings area of Claude to be able to do this. And then you're going to hit this connectors tab down here. And you can see I've already got my OpusClip.
Sorry, Greg.
Hey, Greg, are you using a different monitor?
Oh, okay. It's on the same screen, but I think I've shared the OpusClip website window rather than the whole screen. Give me a second. I'll try to figure this out.
Okay.
I told you I don't.
So what we'll do is while he's reconfiguring that is I'll go through and I'll show you the ChatGPT version, just because I just want you to see in terms of, the process of, how fast all this comes together. So normally I do this in Claude and I left this kind of raw inside of ChatGPT. And what that means is I haven't even installed it into my own ChatGPT account, just so that we can show you, the process. It looks like Greg has it ready. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and get Greg there on Claude, and then we'll come back to ChatGPT here in probably 3 minutes. All right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we're in the settings area of Claude now. You'll recognize this if you've got Claude installed on your computer. And then, yeah, we're just going to head down to connectors here. And then it's as simple as pressing this add button at the top here, and then pressing add custom connector. You then simply type in the name of the connector that you're adding in. So we're currently adding in an OpusClip connector. So I'm just going to call this OpusClip. And then I should have planned ahead and copied the code. 1 second. Let's just get that up, get that copied now and head back to Claude. Yep. And then you're just going to copy that code that was on the OpusClip website on step number 2 of those 3 steps. Press add, and it's literally that simple. It's literally just copying this code into the settings area of Claude. You're good to go. You'll get a prompt asking you to log in to OpusClip through Claude, which will happen automatically if you've already got OpusClip open on your web browser. And that's literally it in terms of setting it up in Claude.
And then when it comes to ChatGPT, very similar, setup. But there are, a couple other things I want to bring to your attention as well. So the very first thing is when you are setting it up, right down here at the very bottom inside of ChatGPT, you can choose a folder, right? So what I recommend is that if you are doing this sort of thing, to just isolate, the projects into a folder. So here, what you can do is if you click on this, and this is inside of the new ChatGPT app that is combined with Codex. So with this, once you click into that, then you can go up and do new project and start from scratch. And then all that's going to do is ask you to, create the folder, or you can use an existing folder if you want to just go ahead and set it up through your Finder. But once that's set up, all you have to do is you go up here to the plugin section up here in the top left-hand side. Once you are in the plugin section, you're going to see this little cog icon right here that is across from the installed option. So with that, we're going to click on that little option there. Then you're going to see these 3 tabs. So you want to go to the tab right here that says MCPs, and we're going to click on that. And then right next to that, you're going to see this option here to add server. So what you want to do is you want to click on add server, and then we're going to go through that same process that Greg just went through. So I'm going to name this OpusClip. And then right here, this is really important. So make sure when you're setting this up that you do pay attention to this part right here. If you look at this under type, you're going to see studio, and you're going to see streamable HTTP. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have streamable HTTP selected. And then from there, you come down to the URL box. And then in that URL box, I'm going to paste that same exact link that Greg just put into his. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the chat as well, so that you also have this available to you. And then once that's set up, the next step is I just come down and hit save. And then from here, we're going to see what happens. Okay, so the next thing is once this is in, Now, because this is accessing an additional website, which in this case is OpusClip, the next thing that we have to do is authenticate. So when you click this button, what happens is this is going to open up OpusClip, and then you have to give it permissions essentially to your account, just like if you're connecting anything else to any of your other accounts. So I'm just going to click on the authenticate button, which isn't working, which is hilarious. Oh, no, there it is. There it is. Okay. Okay, so now when you click on that, what you're going to see is now because I clicked it a bunch of times, so these might keep popping up. We're going to see, but basically once you, yep, here they come. So once you click on that, then you're going to see the option right here where it says, where it's asking for access to the account. So once you grant it access, yeah, it's going to keep popping these up here while all of that's working. Then what you're going to see is you're going to see authentication complete. You may now close this window. And then from here, you are good to go when it comes to chatting with your ChatGPT in order to have it take actions on your behalf for OpusClip. So Greg, do you want to show any examples from Claude in terms of, how to put it all together?
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely show you guys what this does. I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat though about like maybe we went too fast and what happens if you don't see certain screens and stuff.
Yeah. Would it be
I'll just
okay
quickly
if
say. Oh, go ahead,
Oh,
Parker.
sorry. Go ahead, Greg. Well, if you don't mind, I was just going to call out to, maybe you were going to say the same thing, but I was going to call out. I think that what Greg and Nick both shared, the setup processes through ChatGPT and Claude, they may look slightly different for some of you all based on the version of app that you have downloaded. If you're like, one or two versions behind, ChatGPT and Claude notoriously, they will like change a lot of things in there. So I do want to say just to all of the attendees, if any of you are struggling to set it up, you're not seeing the exact button that Nick showed or Greg showed, for example, in your AI client, we'll send out an email that's like very comprehensive and like just has the screenshots for the whole process. And we'll try to look back and see, did it look different a version or two ago in some of these desktop apps? So yeah, so for any of you who are having issues installing it, apologies about that. Apologies that it's not more straightforward, but we will take care of you in terms of like sending the full instructions afterwards. And I would say, see if at least in the webinar, even if you can't get it set up on your own end here, see if you can kind of get a sense of the workflows that Nick and Greg are going to be sharing and see some of the inspiration. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. And just a few points to sort of tail end what we just showed. Like there's a lot of questions asking if this video is going to be available for rewatch after this live stream's done. Yes, it will be, so you can watch back through mine and Nick's step by step then. Some people were saying they're not seeing buttons to add that connector, to add the MCP. I know, I know at least inside Claude, you need to be on the desktop app rather than using Claude web. So just kind of make sure you're in the desktop app if you're trying to do that in Claude. If you don't see the add button, it'll be top right corner and it'll be like add or add custom connector. It will say something like that. And then you have just paste the code in on that website. And I think Nick has pinned the website you need to go to in the chat too. So just a few points of clarity to finish that off. Cool. Did you want
so one more thing that I also want to just remind everybody of, there's actually a couple of things. So the very first is that we are going to be giving away free trial credits so that you can use this with OpusClip. So you are going to get a free trial of OpusClip and you're going to get 90 minutes of free credits. So basically 90 minutes of generation so that you can burn those 90 minutes up, just experimenting with it and seeing what it can do to help you with your workflow. And another thing that I also want to bring to your attention for those of you that are just joining us right now is that OpusClip also put together this inspiration page that's really cool that gives you a lead on just some of the things that you can do with it. And of course, this is just the beginning. They're going to be adding additional information to this as well. But, this gives you, places where you can get started. This will show you, some of the things that this is capable of and just different ways that you can use it, things that you can connect it to and those sorts of things. So this link, I'm going to go ahead and drop this one into the chat as well so that you can make sure that you have the information that you also need for this. So Greg, do you want to give a demo on Claude?
Yeah, sure, can do. Yeah, I've been playing around with this, especially today, getting more into the weeds, and I've got some like interesting use cases that I think are pretty useful. So yeah, I'll run through a couple of those now. So, and like I said, bear with me, absolute rookie. It's live streaming. I'm going to share my Claude window again. I'm going to try and share the screen this time because I want to jump between tabs. So can you see Claude open now?
There you go.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. So one thing I think is pretty useful, because a lot of people will have like connected OpusClip to Claude using the OpusClip MCP, but you might be sitting there once you've done that thinking, well, what can this MCP actually do? Like, what can I do inside Claude with this OpusClip MCP setup? And I found a pretty useful little instruction that we can type into Claude just to kind of see like the entirety of what OpusClip can do for you through Claude. So I'm in Claude here. I've got a new chat open. I've just typed in, tell me everything that the connected OpusClip MCP can do. Just to kind of get that, like, I guess, onboarding, that like understanding of what we can do here. And one thing you want to do when you first set this up and you're like first about to start using it, just make sure that you press this plus icon to check your connectors and that the OpusClip MCP connector is actually turned on. That's the connector you just set up. So you just need to make sure that's turned on. But once the MCP is installed into Claude and turned on, we can just like submit this prompt here. And if this works the same way it did earlier, which I have 100% faith it will, here we go. Claude just starts reading off like what the OpusClip MCP can do for us. So that is not very human friendly though. So I'm going to tell it to rewrite that in a non-technical way. And this is the beauty. You can just talk to this like you'd normally use an LLM, like you'd normally use Claude or Gemini. So if it doesn't give you what you want exactly how you want it first, you can just chat to it in a normal way and it'll give you it back. So we can see here, it can upload, we can upload videos through Claude and it will automatically turn it into clips for us. We can use the MCP to get transcripts of videos, clean up clips by getting rid of swearing and sensitive bits. We can set up connections. We can post to our socials like TikTok and Instagram. So this is just like a really simple way to use the MCP when you first installed it, just to understand actually what the MCP can do in the first place. Cool. That making sense, Nick?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll give a little demo here on the ChatGPT side as well. So just as a reminder, you know, like this is my first time using it in ChatGPT. So we're going to see how ChatGPT is going to handle this. So the very first thing is I'm going to go right down here to the input box, right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to tell it to, let's see here, let's have it clip. Let's see here, have OpusClip add captions. Sorry, have OpusClip clip this video, add captions, and use the Nimmin Live brand template. And I'll just leave it with that. And then I paste the YouTube link. So for this, oh my gosh, I didn't even have that up on the screen. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yeah, so this area right down here is where I just put that information. So if you are inside of the ChatGPT software, which is also called Codex, they just merged them the other day. But down here in the input box, I made sure that my OpusClip MCP folder is selected. And then I have OpusClip, clip this video, add captions, and use the Nimmin Live brand template. So when you're having it do this, you can tell it all of those things. So if you have a specific brand template that you want to use, if you wanted to add captions, OpusClip just released a new feature where they're also dubbing videos. So if you want to transition your videos into another language, you can have it do that as well. But with that, one of the things that I found, just a quick side tip here, is that when it comes to the auto dubbing feature, you have to have it just focus on the auto dubbing feature, because right now it won't do a stack of things with the auto dubbing feature like it's currently doing with just the regular clips. So here I can give it, 3 different instructions on clipping the video, adding the captions, and using the brand template for the video. But if I were to include the auto dubs into this at the time of this recording, it doesn't also do that. So you have to focus it on the auto dub. And Michael asks about Agent Opus. Agent Opus has one of these as well, but I'm not sure if it is available yet, but it's on the way. So once this is put into that area there, right down here at the bottom, I'm just going to hit send, and we're going to see together. We're going to see, what this does here and how it puts it all together. So yeah, says I'll use the in-app browser to submit the YouTube video to OpusClip, then apply captions to the Nimmin Live brand template. I'll verify the project settings before starting the clip job. So right now what's happening is it is going, and it is, going through the process right here of figuring out everything. So it says I'll use the in-app browser to submit the YouTube video to OpusClip, then apply captions and the Nimmin Live brand template. I'll verify the project settings before starting the clip job. The OpusClip integration is present, but its callable clipping actions aren't exposed directly in this session. I'm checking the local integration setup, then I'll use the signed in web app if needed. So that's interesting. So then it has this little permission box that popped up asking me for additional information. So I'm just going to, we'll just allow it once for now. And then basically we're just going to sit here and watch as this is putting it, as it's putting it all together. So earlier, just to, show you while that's running in the background. So earlier on the Claude side, this is basically what the chat looked like. So you can see this, process, in real time, or not in real time, but you can see, without having to actually wait for it to process. But here on Claude, I say, have OpusClip clip this video and add captions using the Nimmin Live branding preset. And then here it said that, where was it? Yeah. On that account, because I have multiple OpusClip accounts, so on that account, I didn't have the Nimmin Live brand preset. So I had to go in there, make the brand preset, and then I just told it right here to check again. And when I told it to check again, then it's like, oh, there it is. I found it. And then as we continue through, it just gives you the updates on what's going on. It confirms the captions. It confirms the brand template, the aspect ratio that is selected there. And then it just keeps on trucking through, those options. And then you can see right here where it gives me the limitation on the audio dubbing into Spanish. And then we keep on going. And some really interesting things here that I want to bring to your attention is, when it comes to things like this, people are concerned about cost, right? Like, oh, is this going to cost me, a lot to be using this and things like that. So as you're using it for some of the things that you're going to be doing, sometimes it's also going to give you reports on what things are going to cost when you are using them. At least that's what it did in this situation right here, to where it just gave me the heads up saying that dubbing charges 10 credits per minute, just to let me know that, that's what I was going, or that's the usage I was going to be getting, and to make sure that I checked my usage first to make sure that I had the limits for that. And then it told me that I had 890 credits remaining in that particular situation. And then from there, once it's all finished, it shows me, that it's done for uploading that particular video. So again, just as a reminder to start this process, I add the link directly from YouTube to the video, and then I, drop it into chat. And then from here, other things that you can do also is you can check the status. So let's say that you're working on, and I'm going to remove this just for 1 second so we can talk about this, but let's say you're working on a project. And if you're like me, like when I'm using the Agent Opus MCP, is if I'm working on like multiple things, doing multiple clips and things like that, then in that case, I have some things going on over here to where I'm not necessarily, focused on watching the screen to see the progress of it. So because of that, what you can do is just anytime you're curious, hey, is that finished yet? You don't have to log into OpusClip to check to see if the clip's there. You can just ask your AI service, whatever it is that you're using, and it can deliver that information because it has it through the MCP. Just like here where I say, can you check on the status of the Spanish dub? So it says that the Spanish dub is still queued, and then says, meanwhile, the other job is complete. Do you want me to pull up those clips or check back on the dub later? So you can see that you don't have to be technical here. This is all just natural language stuff. There's no, deep prompting or anything special that you're having to do here. You just have to talk to it in natural language, and it knows everything that's happening. And then I ask it to give me the download links. And then as you can see here, it gives me all of the download links to all 17 clips that were clipped in that particular session. So for these to download, all I have to do is click on this, and then I click on the open link button. And you can't see it because it just popped up in another monitor. But basically, it goes to save it into my, I'll pull it in, no, because it'll create a tunneling effect. But basically, what it does is it just opens it up in the browser for a second, and then it asks for permission to download it. So for me personally, in terms of a workflow standpoint, the thing that I really, really like about it is being able to check in on it and, ask, hey, are these clips finished? So for those of you that are just doing this on the weekend, when you don't have a lot of time to do this stuff because, you're working during the week or whatever the thing is, then in that case, when you're sitting down for those sessions on the weekend, then you can just sit there and have all of these things going on inside of your OpusClip MCP. And then just as you're working on other things, you can just ask it, for the status as they're being completed, which personally, I think from a workflow standpoint, is extremely convenient. But right now, it's going through a process here trying to connect. I just had to, give it additional permissions here in ChatGPT. So we're going to see, how this all comes along. But while we're waiting for this, for, Greg and Parker, for use cases for this, what do you guys, from your experience, what have you found to be, just additional ways that, people can use this and just ways that they can, dig into this? Parker?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'd actually love if I could screen share for like 3 to 5 minutes. I'd love to show
Absolutely. Yes.
So far, it's been my #1 favorite workflow. I'm sure that'll change, but it's like, I think it answers a lot of the questions around, Nick, a lot of what you showed is a big quality of life improvement, not having to sit there and babysit the OpusClip website, being able to like initiate clips and get back your results through ChatGPT. But there are a lot of ways that you can plug in other tools and systems with your AI, with OpusClip to like 10x its power. So that's actually one workflow I'd like to share. Can you put me on screen share?
Yeah, if you click on the option down in the bottom of the screen, it's kind of in the middle of the buttons down there, and click on the share screen option, it'll pop up here. And then once it's popped up here, then I'll be able to bring it onto the screen. There it is. I see it. There you go.
Right, cool. Oh, whoops. Yeah.
Well, we got the tunnel. Woo.
Yeah. Can you all see my Claude here? It's showing Claude, right? Just want to
it's on the screen. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And sorry if you all have to like squint your eyes to see. I'll narrate what happened here. But this is a conversation I had with my Claude code a week ago, and I'm just going to show you what I did and what it accomplishes. So what I wanted to do for OpusClip's social accounts is I wanted to find a way to make it easier for us to do what's called trend jacking. So for any of you in the audience who aren't familiar, the term trend jacking refers to a content strategy where you basically just wait around for trends that are relevant to your niche, your industry to pop up. And then you try to post or react to that. And you kind of try to act in the moment. And you're kind of riding that trend as a way of getting attention and getting views versus having to like reinvent everything from your own creativity or whatnot. So I wanted to find a way to automate that for OpusClip's social accounts using the swath of live streams and YouTube videos that Greg and Nick have made for us on our YouTube channel. So what I did is I used a tool called Perplexity. Some of you have probably heard of it. It's a form of ChatGPT or Claude, but it has an API that you can set up really easily. There are instructions on how to do this online. You can set up the API in your AI assistant of choice, and then you can do things with Perplexity like ask it to find me the top 5 trends from yesterday in these topics. Like I listed out content creation, AI for content creation, creator economy, so on and so forth. You can work with Perplexity and it can give you back trending topics in different niches that you describe to it. So I asked it to do that in my Claude basically. And then Claude was able to communicate with Perplexity to get back a list of the top 5 trends from the past week that are relevant to OpusClip. So it surfaced to me like TikTok just launched some new AI agent that's really relevant to OpusClip, right? It talked about how some creator agency got acquired by someone. Instagram launched a new edits app. So it gave me back all of these trends that are relevant to us. And then here's what's cool. Here's where OpusClip gets more powerful. I asked my Claude, okay, now pull up my OpusClip account and look through all of the past clips from my past projects. Find the single clip that is the most relevant to one of those top 5 trends that you flagged above. And so Claude, worked together with OpusClip to go and do that. And then it surfaced back to me a single clip that's most relevant to one of the trends that it picked. So now effectively I've got a clip that's based on a trending topic that's ready for me to post. But I was able to ask Claude, okay, use OpusClip again to go ahead and schedule that clip to just be posted tomorrow, hands off from me, on all of my social accounts at whatever the most opportune time is for those social accounts. And again, you probably can't see the details here, but it was able to do that. It scheduled it out for me. And then what I did is I told it, okay, turn this into a recurring routine that just happens autonomously every Monday morning. I want to be hands off from this. Just run it in my Claude account as a Claude routine every Monday morning. And it's not included here, but I also asked it, oh, and could you also ask, could you send me a direct message on Slack whenever you actually schedule one of these clips, just so that I'm notified. And you can see it was able to do that as well. So the whole idea here is I set this up this past Monday, and now it's just going to basically be like an intern for us at OpusClip and post these trending clips fully on its own every Monday, hands off from me, and then notify me about it. And again, the cool thing here is you can't technically do this with OpusClip alone. You would need to plug in something else like Perplexity to bring all the pieces together. But if you do that, now the impact of OpusClip is way, way higher than if just you use it on your own. So I wanted to share this. This is one workflow that I'm really excited about, and I'm going to try to keep building out. But really, I think your all's imaginations are the limit. This is just one example.
Yeah, that's an awesome example.
All right, let me turn off my...
Yeah, it's a great example, and it shows, like a pro level usage there. In terms of, the scheduling thing, I think is pretty incredible. Pretty incredible there.
Yeah, so good. And actually, just joining onto that, I have one more use case that I tried out today, which kind of blew my mind. That I can just show quickly, Nick, if we got time.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw in the chat earlier, people were asking why would I do this through Claude rather than just going onto the OpusClip website? And Parker's started to touch on it there. You can do this within the workflow that you're already inside. So you can be looking in Claude or looking at Perplexity for those ideas, for that trend jacking, and then just stay in that tool to start using OpusClip as well, rather than jumping from one website to the another. So great for bringing in info that you've already got in Claude or Perplexity into OpusClip. And Parker also touched on automation there as well. And I think automation is a big one that we actually haven't really hyped up as much as we should. With AIs like Perplexity, Claude, maybe ChatGPT, I don't use it as much anymore these days, but especially in Claude, you can set up automations. You can set up these scheduled tasks to run every day or every week, whenever you want, without you being at your computer. So in theory, say you create a ton of content every week, you could have a single folder where you put all of your long form videos every week. And you can just set up Claude to, every Monday morning, check for any new videos in that folder on my computer, automatically send them to OpusClip and edit those videos. And that's just going to save you time every week of having to, grab everything new that you've put together, pull it into the OpusClip website yourself. You can just set that up to happen automatically through Claude now and through other AIs. So I think the automation side of things is something we really need to big up. And equally, you can tell Claude as well to, after it's edited your videos, automatically post it to my TikTok and to my YouTube. So this can become really hands-off. And I also touched on it then as well, and I really played with this today. We need to talk about bulk tasks as well. As with that example I just gave, telling Claude to look in a folder and find all of the new videos in that folder each week and edit those new videos, you can give bulk commands to Claude. And I'm just going to jump in and show you this because I've had my screen on long enough. So I'm in Claude Cowork now, and I've connected a specific folder on my computer down here that I want Claude to look in. And here's a prompt I tried out today. I just said, using the OpusClip MCP, take every video in that folder and apply captions to them. So for every video in there, I want you to keep every video you find at its full length, at the original length it is, and use my brand template, which I've called horizontal and captions, which is going to add captions to those videos and keep them horizontal. So this is really harnessing the power of being able to do bulk tasks through Claude by just telling Claude to do it for every video it finds in this folder down here. And then if I just press enter, Claude will like go on and start that process. And, you know, obviously we all know that OpusClip can take 5, 10, 15 minutes to do its thing. So I have something from earlier to show you. And this is just an example of when I ran this earlier. It took all of these videos that it found in the folder and added captions to it with that one prompt. And like I said, that could be automated. So yeah, I think it's really important to stress the automation and the bulk edits that we can do with this tool here. It's really powerful.
Yeah, and I think also, you know, just as content creators, like we're juggling enough stuff as it is, and having to, you know, log into everything all the time and things like that. Like, you know, if we like it or not, I think this is just the way things are going, right? When it comes to, you know, how we're going to be working into the future is, you know, just talking to, you know, the agents and having them do pretty much everything. So I think getting used to it through, you know, through things like OpusClip's MCP and, you know, getting your feet wet, so to speak, if you're not doing this yet, is definitely something to do. So one thing that I do want to let you know is inside of ChatGPT, I am having a little bit of trouble. So inside of this, it's found Opus. I'm just going to share this because I think it's important for people to see this, because you're probably going to, or some of you might have a similar, you know, issue. And I'm going to, you know, troubleshoot this as we're going along. But basically, I had to, the first issue was that I had to close Codex and then start it again. Because it was sitting there running in the background. And then I asked it finally, I was like, hey, you're having trouble with this. And I told it that I had installed the MCP, and it said, oh, you need to restart Codex for that. So in Claude, I didn't have to do that, but apparently in ChatGPT you do. So if you are doing this inside of ChatGPT, then you might have to restart it. But from there, now it's going through the process of putting all this together. But one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is, you know, depending on your, you know, you can use this on your, you know, AI of choice. You know, like, for example, Parker's using it in Perplexity, Greg's using it in Claude, I'm using it in Claude, and then we're doing this demo in ChatGPT. However, from my, you know, just testing on both of these, you know, with Claude and with ChatGPT, personally, I found Claude a lot easier to set up than ChatGPT. Because with Claude, I didn't have to restart anything. It instantly found everything, made all the connections that it needed, and went from there. ChatGPT, as you can see, you know, on the screen here, it's got it, you know, figured out, and it's going through the process now, right? You can see it all happening right here. But I also had to be explicit of using the OpusClip MCP because my ChatGPT was trying to figure out how to do it online. So because of that, just make sure if you are using ChatGPT that you're being a little bit more clear and a little bit more explicit of the exact, you know, thing that you want it to do, the particular plugin that you're wanting it to use as well. Where Claude seems to be more intuitive, to where when I was inside of Claude, I just told it to, you know, just do it with OpusClip, and then it figured it out from there without me having to restart anything or explain to it that it needed to use the MCP. So just be mindful of that. Now, when it comes to Gemini, Parker, what's the status on Gemini with this? Have you used it with Gemini yet?
I have to admit, have not. I think that, yeah, that's a great call to action for me and the team. I think that certainly anyone who uses Gemini, feel free to try it out. It's possible it might work. It might be as simple as just giving it that same MCP server URL that Greg was showing, and it's on our website. It could be as simple as just giving it that URL in the settings. I think that traditionally, and this might be why we overlooked it, generally speaking, I think that Gemini isn't as powerful as like a client, like an AI client, as Claude or ChatGPT is. So if Gemini is your AI of choice, then feel free. But I think just to second what Nick was saying, if you are newer to this, you're newer to this whole, like, using an AI client, an AI agent, and you're picking between different options, I would also recommend actually starting with Claude. And so yeah, all that said, try it out with Gemini. We'll try it out on our side as well and add that to the website. If it doesn't, anyone who's a little newer, I think Claude would be what I recommend attaching yourself to, similar to Nick.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. ChatGPT seems like it, like it would be more intuitive by default because you hear about it, more. But when it comes to these sorts of things, I mean, don't get me wrong with the new ChatGPT update, it's solid, but just based on what's happened while we've been here live streaming and just the wildly different experience I've had with this particular workflow, Claude is definitely the go-to, but it's working. And I'll go ahead and share this as well, because I just asked what the status, of the project is, but it has everything that it needs. It's going through the process right now. Everything's being processed in OpusClip. I asked what the current status of the clip is, and it says that everything's still queued. No clips or previews have been generated yet. So it's working on it, but everything, involved with the ChatGPT experience has been much slower than the Claude experience on my side. And, we might be one update away from that changing, or maybe if I restart my computer and start it again, then, it might be a little bit more efficient. But just based on what's happened during this live stream, personally, I'll be going back to Claude when it comes to using this. But with that said, remember that we mentioned during the beginning of the live stream that we are going to be giving away the free trials and the 90 minutes of free credits. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the chat right now, where you can claim those and where you can, just go ahead and start experimenting with this. And when it comes to experimenting with it, I encourage you to just, first check the inspiration page that we shared earlier, but also, just try different things and see what it's capable of. And again, you don't have to be a prompt wizard or anything like that. You can just talk to it in natural language and you're going to get the output that you want, even if it's slow coming through ChatGPT. Let's see here, free credits. And I'm dropping the link to the free credits into the chat right now. And again,
while Nick does that,
free credits to help you, have some experimentation time to be able to play with it without any risk.
Okay, I was cutting you off. Sorry, Nick. But yeah, what Nick was doing that. That's the whole point of an MCP. It's you're meant to be able to, rather than having to be technical and know how to code and all that stuff, you're meant to be able to use these MCPs through your AI in just a normal language, like how you talk to me or Nick or Parker on the street. So once you get it set up, yeah, you should be able to just use the benefits that any of these AI clients normally give you, and just being real intuitive and just really straightforward to use.
And really quick, we do have a little bit of time here for a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, and the first question that I want to just address here is Great Dane says, what about music videos? So if you're making music videos, I recommend that you check out Agent Opus. I've made some really fun stuff with Agent Opus because you can upload your track into Agent Opus, and then you can give it a prompt. You can give it style references, things like that. You can even add consistent characters to it, and it'll generate videos based on your music video. So I really recommend that when it comes to music videos that you do try Agent Opus, for that. Greg, it says, or Parker, either one, it says, do you need a paid account before you receive the extra credits? Yeah, to my understanding, this also includes the free trial. So you can just go ahead and start using the credits, to my understanding. Is that correct, Parker?
Yes, that should be correct. And I think that the link that we shared earlier was to our marketing website homepage, like with the little token attached at the end. So I also just sent in the YouTube chat, like the OpusClip dashboard link with the credits token at the end. So if you hit that, that might solve some of the hiccups you all ran into. It should issue the 90 credits into your account though when you click on the link. If you're on the pro plan or if you're on the free plan, it should upgrade you to a trial as well. And by the way,
Yeah, and that link is in the chat. We have it pinned to the screen right now, but it's long and there's a lot of stuff that you have to type into that. So so definitely make sure that you do pull it out of the chat on whatever platform it is that you are watching this on. And it looks like yeah, it looks like we have that they registered and clicked the link and they received the 90 credits. Fantastic.
Nice.
So Christopher says, and I'll pass this one to you, Parker, because you mentioned about using it inside of the ChatGPT browser. Says, what is the main use for the MCP? Why not do it in the browser?
Yeah, great question. I know that's probably the overarching question on everyone's mind. Speed is one. Again, I think my mind just keeps, this is what I'm most excited about. My mind keeps going back to this, just the ability to connect with other tools and other workflows that you're already doing in Claude or ChatGPT or whatever it is that you use. Currently, if you just use OpusClip in the web UI experience, you're kind of in that little walled garden. We have some automation features in there. We have the ability to auto import new videos from your YouTube channel directly. So you can set up some automations in little one-off fashions like that. But if you really want to like 10x your efficiency and 10x the possibilities of what you can get out of OpusClip, there are just lots of limitations to when you only use it in our web UI. So when you actually set up the MCP in your AI client, you start toying around with different workflows, connecting to different tools. That's where like you really, it's like an order of magnitude, more possibilities of what you can create. So that would be the long-winded answer, I suppose.
Yeah, and another thing too, in terms of just interacting with OpusClip in general, is you have to go to the website, put your link in there, paste it in there. You got to check back into the website from time to time to see if things have processed and all of that. And there's a use case for that. Like for example, if you need to go in and fine tune an edit or something like that, you can definitely do it there. But when it comes to getting things going directly from the browser, you don't have to open up anything new. If you're like I don't know if you use AI this way, but I usually have something open that I can either Claude Code or something like that I can that I'm always asking questions and throwing stuff at. So you can just jump right over to that tool, drop it in there, and then check the status in there, have it make any adjustments that you need, things like that. So just from a workflow perspective, it's just a lot faster because you don't have to go into the website in order to use anything, which is great.
Yeah, and one thing that's cool with Claude connectors is you can use them on your phone. If you've got the Claude phone app, you can trigger them from your phone. So, say a new topic started trending and you thought, oh, I spoke about that in a video I filmed like 3 months ago, but you've not got your laptop on you. You could be on the train in theory and say into Claude, find the video in OpusClip where I spoke about this topic and make a clip around me just speaking about that topic, and then publish it to my YouTube channel or to my Instagram, and it's done. So you've got that power of your AI assistant being able to search through the transcripts and through the titles, and then you've got the remote access through your phone on the fly. So it's not for everyone. Like some people are completely happy sitting at their computer and doing this, but there's definite advantages to having like these features available too.
And in terms of telling Opus or telling Claude to tell Opus the parts of the video to clip, I'm not sure. Do you know, Parker? Is that something that you can do to where you can drop the link in there and say clip the part where I'm talking about fill in the blank? Is that an option? Do you know?
Yeah, good question. Good question. And so for any newer OpusClip users, what Nick was just describing, like the ability to actually prompt OpusClip's AI curation at the time of submitting a video, that is a feature you can do in the web version of OpusClip. You either can at the moment, or if I remember correctly, I think we are prioritizing like very shortly. So you, in theory, within the next couple of weeks, should be able to, ask your Claude, give it the link to your YouTube video or drag in the video from your desktop and say, hey, please clip out the moments that are specifically about this or that. I think, I don't know for 100% sure, but we will, if we don't support it right now, it will be supported in the next couple of weeks.
And then again, Ray Schiller says, how do we get the extra credits? I'm dropping a link into the chat right here. And all you have to do is click that once you're logged into your OpusClip account, and then it'll automatically apply the extra credits for you. And one person right here mentions that you have to sign out of Opus first, and then it all works, or sign in to Opus first, and then it all works. And then they want the prompt that you showed for the perplexity search. Parker, do you have that available by any chance?
Yes, I would love to show that. Also, I think, Greg, do you have to drop?
I do. I got to run. Yeah. So I hope everyone watching this found this useful. You can feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or wherever if you need any more help from me in particular. And yeah, thanks guys for having me. I'll see you.
Thank you, Greg.
Soon. Bye.
Thanks,
Take
Greg.
care. So right here, Renegade Funk says, Greg spoke about bulk work and recurring work automation. Do you have any examples of new clients using this capability on their libraries of video classes? Parker.
I can't, you know, our MCP is so new. We just kind of officially launched it today. I don't think we have as many case studies or specific examples stacked up. I will say, just on the OpusClip side, fun fact, if you check out our launch video for the OpusClip MCP that we dropped about 2 hours ago onto our LinkedIn and X accounts, there are clips in there of Logan Paul. I actually generated those clips, or captions to them rather, using our MCP. So that's a case study in and of itself. It's actually the launch video was partially made by, I just had a folder of Logan's clips on my desktop. I told Claude, you know, gave it permissions to access that folder. And then I just asked it, can you please just add captions only to all the 12 clips that are in this folder? And again, just to over communicate, the benefit of that is I didn't have to sit in there and OpusClip one by one and drag each of them in. And, you know, like Nick was saying, I just ran that prompt, OpusClip and Claude got to work. And then I alt tabbed and went about my other work. So actually, yeah, there's one piece of evidence, but we're going to be trying to share more and more cases of real users who are utilizing the MCP for those things.
And another question here from Fairway Heritage says, does it just do clips or long form videos too? It can do longer form videos. So for example, every Saturday I do a live stream where I stream for 3 hours straight. So OpusClip can do up to 15 minutes of footage out of that video. So it can make a 15-minute regular 16:9 aspect ratio, you know, horizontal landscape video up to 15 minutes long from that. So it can do multiples, you know, as well, as long as it can find, you know, the content is good enough to fill up that space. So yeah, it can do long form videos as well. And other things that it can do also is OpusClip just recently put out a dubbing feature. So as a part of that dubbing feature, you can upload you can give it a link to a long form video, you know, just a regular, let's say a 10-minute video, and you can tell it inside of Claude or ChatGPT to have that video dubbed into whatever language it is that you're dubbing it into that's supported by OpusClip. And then it can go ahead and take those actions on your behalf too. So, you know, like Parker mentioned, keep in mind that, you know, this is full function. It's ready to go. You can go ahead and start using this now, but today is day one. So because of that, you know, keep in mind that as, you know, it gets worked on more, then more functionality is going to be added to it. Things are going to get smoother, you know, and all of that as well. So as it, you know, continues to go along, it's just going to get better and better, and you're going to be able to be more efficient when you're using it as well, which is great.
Yeah. And Nick, if I can just say, I know that, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you're okay. You're okay.
I was just going to say, I know we're a little over time. I do want to just say, because I know there's been a lot of comments and there's been a great turnout here overall. I think there's I'm so glad to see so many people showed up. So many people are interested. I do feel as though there are a ton of questions in the chat that maybe we won't have time to answer or we didn't get to answer here. So I want to say I will be taking all of the questions and, deduplicating some of them. And in the webinar recap email that we send out, everybody, I will have an FAQ section in there that just has quick hit answers to all of these things. So if we didn't answer your question here, don't worry, just be on the lookout for that recap email.
Yeah. And with that also, as a part of, what Parker was just saying there, do make sure that you check your email if you're an OpusClip user, because you are going to be getting information for this directly in your email. It should be coming out this morning. So make sure that you are, checking that so that you can also, celebrate this MCP launch with us. So I just want to thank everybody for hanging out. I want to thank Greg and Parker for, coming on. I want to thank OpusClip for, letting us do this because it's awesome. And thank OpusClip for, just making cool features and innovating and doing these types of things that help us work more efficiently and be able to, get our message out there in a more efficient way. So everybody have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you next time. And again, you can go to opus.pro/MCP for additional information on this. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.